Welcome to BoZhan's universe. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video with your friends. The world watched, captivated, as the sleek, aerodynamically impossible vehicle soared over the newly completed section of Chimera City. This was the Ethereia, the first public test flight of a transportation system designed not just for speed, but for emotional resonance, flowing along currents of collective human feeling. Wang, the architect of its core systems, sat at the controls, his synaptic choreography seamlessly merging with the vehicle's intricate neural network. Beside him, Zhan, the bard of empathy, acted as the emotional navigator, his empathic projection guiding the Ethereia through zones of peace and joy he had pre-programmed into the city's infrastructure. The flight was a breathtaking ballet of light and motion. The vehicle pulsed with a soft, harmonious glow, responding to Zhan's subtle shifts in projected serenity. Below, the city's inhabitants felt a wave of calm wash over them as the Ethereia passed overhead. This was the pinnacle of their fused powers, a living testament to their shared vision. Then, a sudden, violent jolt. Not from the Ethereia, but from the city itself. An unforeseen surge of chaotic, uncontrolled emotion, a sudden burst of collective panic from a distant, unrelated incident below, slammed into Zhan. His empathic projection, usually a conduit, became a receiver, overwhelmed by the raw, discordant energy. He gasped, clutching his head, a searing pain shooting through his temples. The calm flow of his projection fractured, turning into a piercing, high-frequency shriek of psychic static. Yibo felt it immediately. The Ethereia, intricately linked to Zhan's emotional output, shuddered violently. Its harmonious glow turned to a frantic, strobing red. Yibo's synaptic choreography, still trying to maintain control, was fighting a losing battle against the sheer volume of chaotic input. The vehicle spun, lights flashing, its once graceful ascent now a terrifying, uncontrolled dive. Yibo fought the controls, his logical mind screaming commands, but his body, intimately connected to the vehicle, was jolted by every twist and turn. He saw the city below rushing up, a kaleidoscope of danger. The last thing he registered was a blinding flash of light and the impact. The aftermath was a blur of searing pain and disorienting silence. Wang awoke in a sterile hospital room, his body a symphony of aches. But it wasn't just physical pain. His vision was fragmented. The room wasn't solid, it was a million glittering pixels, a constantly shifting data stream that refused to coalesce into a coherent image. The soft murmur of nurses' voices was a discordant jumble of frequencies, meaningless noise. His synaptic choreography, the very essence of his precision, was shattered. He tried to move his hand, to reach for a glass of water, and his muscles spasmed, refusing to obey. He, the master of control, was lost in a fractured, terrifying reality. Zhan, released from the ICU a day earlier with only minor physical injuries, sat by Yibo's bedside. His own internal world was eerily quiet. The vibrant, pulsating tapestry of emotions that usually filled his senses was gone, replaced by a dull, aching numbness. His empathic projection was silenced, his power to connect, to feel, dulled to an unbearable whisper. The trauma of the accident, the overwhelming burst of psychic static, had overloaded his empathetic circuits. He felt nothing, not even the profound relief of Yibo being alive. He was a bard without a song, a conduit without a current. The doctors were baffled by Yibo's neurological state. His brain scans were clear, yet he remained trapped in a fragmented world. They couldn't understand why his body wouldn't obey, why his vision was a broken kaleidoscope. Zhan, numb as he was, knew. Yibo's brain, accustomed to processing information as perfect, flowing data streams, couldn't reconcile the chaotic, unquantified input from his physical trauma. His very perception had broken down, unable to rebuild itself without Zhan's emotional anchor. One afternoon, in a moment of desperate resolve, Zhan reached for Yibo's hand. He closed his eyes, straining to find some flicker of his empathic projection. He remembered the gentle flow of the river at their mountain retreat, the feeling of quiet peace he had once projected to heal Yibo. He focused, not on controlling Yibo's fractured senses, but on projecting a simple, pure emotional anchor, unconditional love. He pushed, not with logic, but with raw, desperate feeling, pouring his very essence into Yibo's shattered mind. A mind-blowing ripple ran through Yibo. The fragmented pixels of his vision began to shimmer, subtly at first, then coalescing into blurred forms. The discordant sounds began to soften, resolving into a low, comforting hum. He felt a profound warmth spread through his fractured reality, a gentle hand guiding his scattered thoughts. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Zhan was building him a bridge, not with code, but with feeling. The architect was being rebuilt by the bard's silent, healing symphony. As Yibo slowly began to regain coherence, he noticed Zhan's uncharacteristic stillness, the dull ache in his eyes. He saw Zhan try to connect with a nurse, a brief, almost imperceptible attempt at empathy that resulted in only a strained, blank look. Yibo understood. Zhan had given so much, had absorbed so much chaos, that his own wellspring of emotion had run dry. The bard was silent. In the quiet of their shared room, Yibo, still struggling with his own fragmented senses, reached for his discarded tablet. His fingers, still clumsy, fumbled with the interface. He found an old file, a collection of Zhan's most cherished childhood memories, the quiet moments of peace Zhan had projected when learning to control his power. He began to work, his synaptic choreography struggling against the remaining fragments of his own illness, but driven by a fierce love. He began to create, not vast, complex worlds, but small, perfect, holographic memory fragments. He projected a shimmering image of the orchid blooming, infused with the vibrant joy Zhan had felt as a child. He projected a silent, flowing visualization of the peaceful river from their mountain retreat. He wove together images of sunlit afternoons, of quiet laughter, of the warmth of a gentle hand. He gave them precision, perfect form, using his logical mind to reconstruct the emotional patterns Zhan had once projected. He was reminding Zhan what emotion felt like, giving his dulled senses a blueprint, a precise map back to feeling. The first time a holographic memory appeared, subtle and vibrant, above Zhan's bed, a soft gasp escaped him. He saw the shimmering image of the orchid, felt a ghost of the pure joy, and a single tear, the first in weeks, traced a path down his cheek. Yibo was rebuilding his emotional landscape, not with raw empathy, but with the precise, loving logic of memory. The bard was being reawakened by the architect's perfect, digital lullabies. Their recovery was a profound, mind-blowing dance of mutual healing. Yibo slowly regained his precision, guided by Zhan's returning emotional resonance, learning to reintegrate the chaotic beauty of feeling into his perfect logical world. Zhan slowly regained his empathy, his senses recalibrating to the vibrant symphony of human emotion, guided by Yibo's precisely reconstructed memories of joy and peace.
Stay tuned to BoZhan's universe for updates, exclusive breakdowns, and emotional reactions as the story unfolds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because this miracle might just be real. The soft, ambient light of their house chimera was a gentle balm to their recovering bodies and minds. The chaotic fragmentation of the hospital was gone, replaced by a quiet, rhythmic serenity. Wang Yibo's vision had healed, the world no longer a jumble of broken data streams, but his synaptic choreography still felt brittle, like a fragile wire that could snap under pressure. Xiao Zhan's empathy had returned, but his empathic projection was tentative, a soft, cautious whisper where there had once been a confident hum. The scars of the Ethereia accident were not just physical, they were a profound emotional and neurological trauma that required a new, mind-blowing kind of healing. Their first real test came in the heart of their home, the Chimera Loom. Yibo, still hesitant, sat before the loom, his hands hovering over the holographic interface. He tried to project a simple form, a basic geometric cube, but his mind, still scarred, could only produce a flickering, unstable shape, its edges blurred, its color fading. He sighed in frustration, the perfect logic of his mind unable to assert its will. Zhan, watching from behind, felt the sharp sting of Yibo's frustration. He walked to him and gently placed his hands on Yibo's shoulders. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. He focused his empathic projection not to console, but but to become a scaffolding for Yibo's fragmented thoughts. "Try again," Zhan whispered, his voice a steady, confident current that flowed into Yibo. "This time, let me hold it together for you." A mind-blowing scene unfolded. Yibo, with Zhan's support, focused once more. His mind, the architect, provided the blueprint for the cube, a perfect mental image of a solid, six-sided form. But as the image began to appear in the loom, it was Zhan's empathy, his steady, constant emotional light, that flowed in and gave it form. Zhan's love became the vibrant, stable energy that held the cube's shape, his faith the unseen force that solidified its edges. The cube shimmered, not with a technical perfection, but with a living, breathing emotional light that was a perfect fusion of Yibo's logic and Zhan's feeling. This was their new loom. Not a solo project, but a shared, symbiotic act of creation. The success, while small, was a crucial step. It gave Yibo the confidence to push further, to face the very source of their trauma. They recreated the Ethereia accident, not as a physical reality, but as a detailed holographic simulation within their home studio. The holographic Ethereia spun, its light frantic and red, and a simulated wave of chaotic psychic static slammed into them. Zhan's breath hitched, the memory of the searing pain a physical shock. He felt the chaos, the panic of the simulated city, the discordant energy that had overloaded his systems. But this time, he didn't falter. He remembered the feeling of Yibo's precise, loving reconstruction of his memories. He remembered the blueprint. Instead of being consumed by the chaos, he consciously filtered it. He focused his empathic projection not on a single feeling, but on creating a stable, calming frequency within the simulated storm. He became the calm at the center of the storm, a mind-blowing feat of self-control. Yibo, in the midst of the simulated chaos, felt it immediately. The static, though still present, was no longer overwhelming. It had a center, an anchor, a steady signal of emotional peace that was all Zhan. Guided by this signal, Yibo was able to re-engage his synaptic choreography, his mind no longer fighting the chaos but using Zhan's calm to navigate it. The holographic Ethereia steadied, its spin slowing, its light returning to a harmonious, stable glow. They didn't just recover, they evolved, learning to not only survive chaos but to thrive within it. The final stage of their healing took them to their emotional garden, a living testament to their progress. Here, Zhan used his fully recovered empathic projection to infuse new life into the terraced plots, filling them with vibrant, resilient flowers that hummed with a powerful, joyous energy. Yibo, his synaptic choreography now fully restored, used his power to weave complex, beautiful patterns of light and sound into the garden, a symphony of pure logic that perfectly complemented the organic, emotional beauty of Zhan's creations. They had not only healed their individual powers but had forged them into an even more perfect, resilient, and beautifully integrated whole. The accident, a terrifying ordeal that had nearly destroyed them, had become the mind-blowing catalyst for their deepest, most profound integration. They were no longer just a pair of brilliant individuals, but a single, unstoppable force, their scars a testament to a love that healed not just their bodies and minds, but the very essence of their unique souls. The architect and the bard, scarred but stronger, stood ready to face the world, a perfect, harmonious whole born of a shared mind-blowing journey of destruction and rebirth. Stay tuned to BoZhan's universe for updates, exclusive breakdowns, and emotional reactions as the story unfolds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because this miracle might just be real.